Hi, I'm Geert Kruiter, Vice President at Bosch Equity, and in particular responsible for our European activities and also for the larger projects we conduct between Europe and the US. One of the things I come frequently across is the request we have from at our clients to have a 5 years business planning in place. Obviously, then we have already worked with them for quite some time, helping to build further equity value, taking them through all sorts of improvements. But at the end of all of these improvements, somehow we move over to unlock their equity value, which means that we are going to look at the process where we are going to see what sort of equity value have we been able to add, and that all should boil down into a sort of projection, not just in one fiscal year, not just your next fiscal year, but over a 5 years planning horizon. And most of our clients tell me always, Geert, you know, a 5 years planning is absolutely ridiculous. I already have a hard time in putting a business plan together in due time for my next fiscal year. However, it is rather critical in once we move to phase 2 or unlock the equity value. If we are talking with buyers or investors in your business, they basically buy into the future of your company. Obviously, the past is important, but everything you do and where they are interested should be reflected in your 5 years planning forward. And it enforces you to think around parameters that drive your business. So think about, for a period of 5 years forward, about the state of art of your technology, about your products. How should they look like in a 5 years time? How do they compare to your competition? So we try to model everything around a couple of key parameters so that you start to understand your own business moving forward much better, and what are exactly the key criteria where your success is measured upon. So for instance, if we go through your partners and your sales force, how much of your business is done now directly versus indirectly, and how would it look like in 3 to 5 years from now? So what sort of impact does that have on your sales staff? What sort of impact does it have on your product development or on the way you have a go-to-market strategy in place? Another aspect is your R&D. If you have state-of-the-art products right now, it's good, but if we move forward for the next 5 years, what sort of investments do you have to make in order to stay at the same level as where you are today? That's the sort of model, the sort of business model that we need to go through together, which typically can easily take up a 2 to 3 months period, and it helps you tremendously as a business owner to better understand how you run your own business. The other side of the coin is, as I said before, buyers buy into your future, not only into your past. This type of modeling and your operational expenses and all of your capital expenses, which you are going through in the next few years, also helps us to put a pro forma P&L together and show the sort of cash flow developments, which are the basic foundations for a business valuation, and also enables a potential buyer to already calculate quite quickly what sort of business case they have in front of them. Obviously, it helps us in order to position that carefully for a potential buyer. The other side is we are able, and we try to buy into the sort of additional business value from a potential buyer. So in other words, a buyer has their own business case as well. So having such a 5 years business planning in place, an entire budget for the next 5 years, including your P&L, your cash flow projections, is for us a good tool, a really important instrument once we move into negotiations with a potential buyer or investor. If they don't believe, or if they come in with an offer which doesn't really match the sort of business valuation based upon the 5 years planning we've put together, it means that we are not talking about emotion, not just about putting figures together, but about the key parameters where they do not believe in. Once we understand which elements of a business case or a business planning they do not believe in, helps us to understand their key concerns, and it also helps us to understand, hey, how does their own internal business case look like? And all of these factors help us tremendously in trying to find the best equity value during negotiations with potential buyers or investors.